Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting episode of Aaron's Opinion, the podcast for blind people, where we speak about critical issues in the blindness community and all other issues from across the universe and galaxy. I believe it is our great friend, Scott Joffre, who has told me to get in touch with a Stephen from Sideways Innovations. And when I got in touch with you, I discovered that you have a fascinating company today, but you've had a fascinating life so far as your life story that has led you up to creating Sideways Innovations. So tell me about yourself. Who's Stephen Poirier? Tell me about your journey so far. How did you come to create Sideways Innovations? And I'll mute my microphone and turn it over to you. Go right ahead.
All right. Well, Sideways Innovations came because I almost get hit by a car going to the school for the blind. And the whole idea was I didn't want to get hit by a car going to the school for the blind. I had a man taking a right-hand turn. And at the school, when you have some vision like myself, they put occluders on you, which takes out all your vision to make you use all your senses. So as I was walking across the street, the man was taking a right-hand turn, and he hit the cane in my hand. It's my first blind mobility cane. And it snapped in my hand, and I thought my hand was broken. The person who was following me, the instructor, picked up the stick and whacked it back to the cane, and the man stopped his car. And a beautiful town car, from what my instructor was telling me. And I pulled my occluders down, and I looked, and the man got out of the car, and he was upset because he just hit his new town car. And he was a cabbie. In Boston, they used nice town cars if you wanted a special ride. So he said, I didn't see you. My headlights didn't go off your reflective tape. Well, this man obviously must have driven around the school for the blind for a long time because he knew about the reflective tape and stuff. And I said, if I had a lightsaber, I would have cut your car in half and you would have seen me. And so he said, oh, I'm so sorry. We both started laughing. Everything's so cool. The dude was just, new to the country and stuff. And it was fine. But I walked around afterwards with my cane that's now warped a little bit, going, and that's where Sideways Innovation started, in my mind at least. So now I make blind mobility canes that light up. Some of them have sound, some of them are just light, and that's where the whole thing started, at least with Sideways Innovations. I make the light sword. That's what we call it.
Exactly. Well, very, very interesting. So I mean, obviously you went to a school for the blind, up there in, I believe, Massachusetts or New Hampshire. So can you kind of, unfold a little bit more of your early days, your childhood? How did you come to go to the school for the blind? Kind of really unfold that a lot more for the listener, because I mean, I know what it is, but I think a lot of other people would like to learn a little bit more about your experiences at the school for the blind.
Well, I went to the school for the blind when I was 22 years old. And I never seen a blind person before I went to the school for the blind, except for one lady who was like 68 years old, which I thought was ancient then. I don't think so ancient anymore. But she was totally blind, and she was a double amputee, and she was my friend's grandmother. So we used to help her get out of her hospital bed, and she would sit next to us when we played penny poker, because, we were big spenders back then. And she would sit and laugh with us and stuff. But that's the only person I met that was blind. So never anybody walking around or anybody that did anything. It started off when I was 7 years old. They said that I wasn't doing my work because I was lazy. And I would tell them there's a sheen on the blackboard. This is back in the days where I went to a parochial school, and the nuns would write on the blackboard. But there was a sheen on I could not see through, and all your assignments were put on the blackboard. And I said, I can't see the assignments. And the sisters would say, Stephen, it's right here. It's plain to see. And they would say, come up here. And I look at the board. And if I got really close, within about 2 or 3 feet, then I could see it. But they would have stuff on the board all day long. They do the math on the board. They do the spelling on the board. Everything was on the board. And I finally said, I can't see this. So in second grade, I stayed back, because I said, I can't see it. I can't see the books that well. And so I just basically sat in class. So about third grade, they gave me an IQ test. And so, well, maybe he doesn't understand things. And my IQ was 140 at that time. I was retested. I was 142 in high school. So they said, well, it's not because you can't understand things. And I said, I just can't see things. But the problem was I was living in a really strange world because I couldn't see the blackboard, but I was playing, baseball with my friends at recess. I had my first mini bike, small motorcycle, and I was 7 years old. So my peripheral vision was perfect and my center vision wasn't there. So if I turned my head just right, I could see to do things. But to concentrate vision on details like writing on a board or in a book, I couldn't see it. So that's how it started.
Sure, sure. Yeah, I remember my own, as I said, I'm 35 now, but I remember as a boy, there were many times where teachers would tell me, well, try to see it, or why can't you see it? Or,
Yeah.
that one always boggled my mind. Try harder. And that just doesn't, if you're a blind person, you can't really try to see. You can try a lot of things, but you can't always try to see, and you can usually never try to see. So that was always a huge issue for sure. Yeah, yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And so then, you mentioned the School for the Blind, but when did you actually start attending there as a student?
I didn't start attending the school for the blind until I was 22. See, between
Oh,
then, there was a lot of span in between. I was 7 years old. I had my first motorcycle. Um, I was a downhill skier.
hmm.
I'm a musician. I started playing the drums when I was 7, and I've been a professional musician all my life. Up until about 2 years ago, I was still playing quite actively. But, I've done motorcycles, downhill skier. I was number 2 seated on my tennis team in high school for one season because I would practice and I found ways of getting to the middle of the court. I could see the person swing, I could hear the sound of it, and I could see the ball when it hit my side. But as we progressed and got better, they got faster and my eyes didn't. So my whole life, my parents would let me try anything. And I would do something. And then when I get to a point where I couldn't do it anymore, they trusted me to put it away. It's like when I had my motorcycle, I had my biggest bike was a DT 300 and that would go 70, 80 miles an hour. But it got to a point where I couldn't see to keep out of the gray stuff on the side and stay on the green stuff or stay on the orange stuff, which is the sand. And I told my father that we need to sell the bike. But we did that. I jumped snowmobiles when I was younger. I mean, I had a great life, but I always found a way of doing things until I couldn't. And then when I couldn't, I tried to do something else. There's a lot of our community that looks at what they can't do and don't look to see what we can do. And that frustrates me to no end.
You're very right. You're very right. And that's something that I try to do in my own life. I try to figure out what is possible because I've come to understand, and you've come to understand it better, that there are things that are impossible in life and we can never do them. So why should we worry about those? What we really should be doing is worrying about what we're able to do. And that's a really subtle thing. Yes, definitely. But I understand that's really hard for people to understand that, if you're blind and you want to do something and you cannot, well, that's still kind of hard to swallow. As we say, it's a big pill to swallow, right? When you can't do something you really,
Yeah,
really
yeah.
want to.
It's true, but Aaron, I look at it this way. There are so many things out there we can try. And if we can't do them, it's okay to put them aside. You'll find something, some niche in life that you really like and that you can do. It's like when they told you before, or told me before, try harder to see. It's like me saying to you, to a bird that can't fly, a penguin, you need to try harder to fly. You've got wings, fly. But we aren't defined by what we can't do. We're defined by the things we won't try to do. I've been a musician all my life. I started off being able to see music with a telescopic lens. I even drove a car with a telescopic lens. I was one of the first 3 people in the country that had a telescopic lens they could drive with. But the thing was, when I couldn't see to read the music, God enabled me to be able to listen to the music. Now I have technique, and for my technique to grow and to listen and to fall into the music, so to flow with the music. And I think a lot of life, there's a lot of flowing that will happen if we stop not doing things. I mean, I was an artist for a while. You just do what you can, and when you can't do anymore, find something else. Don't limit yourself and say, "Oh, everything I want to do is now gone." You know, it's a sad thing.
You're correct. No, I definitely got your point. Absolutely. How do telescopic lenses work, and how were you able to drive? How did that work?
Well, what ended up happening was the first telescopic lens I had was for music, and they made it for me. And when they were first starting to do it, they were a glass around. So all the light from outside you, the glasses, it would magnify the light so much you couldn't see the actual object you were looking at. So what they did is they had telescopic lenses and they started putting black around them. And they put them into a pair of glasses. So you'd have one telescopic lens that would be located somewhere on the glass where you would train your eyes through prism glasses to one-sided spot in your peripheral that you could go to and get a very brief detail of forward. So I had perfect peripheral. So it was trained so I could see forward through this telescopic and then go back in the peripheral and keep going back and forth. So it was good because my father bought me my first car. It was $10 car. It was a piece of rust with a motor in it that still went forward. And I figured he thought, well, we'll try that car. And if you have an accident, you can't ruin too much. But I spent hours learning to drive, and my instincts were fairly good. So riding motorcycles all my life as a teenager, and also snowmobiling, different things, I had fairly good timing, and my peripheral vision was very trained for doing those things. But it did get to a point where I couldn't do them anymore. And at one point, I went into the registry in Boston, Massachusetts, and brought my license and said, I don't want the responsibility anymore. Here's my license. Now, at that time, I was a social worker. I was working for a division of youth services in Massachusetts, working with kids that did everything from B&E to rape to murder from the ages of 8 to 18. And like in 1 month, I had to give up my license. I gave it up because I didn't want to hurt anybody. I thought the responsible thing was to turn my license in, to sell my car, and stop driving. So I gave up my license. I gave up my job because I couldn't see the punches coming anymore. Somebody tried to stick me with a knife twice. They had 1/4 inch one time into me. So I ended up giving up my car, my license, and my job all in 1 month. But it was very depressing. But the thing was, I still had my music. I still had something I could fall back on. And there was something new for me to try out there. I just hadn't figured it out yet. But the telescopic lens worked really well. And nowadays, there are people driving with it. You can be legally blind with a telescopic lens. The only problem is, once you get your license, you're no longer considered legally blind. So it's a catch-22. You're in that world of not seeing and seeing, because you can see to drive, but you still can't see to read the written word. You can see to do some things, but not other things. But you can't be legally blind and drive. So now you're no longer legally blind. So you lose all your benefits of being legally blind, if there's any benefits at all, It's weird.
It is. It is. And you'll find this is a very, well, actually, the longer you talk to me, the longer you talk to Aaron Richmond, you'll discover that there are many, that I confess to you that I have many oddities and quirks. So don't take it the wrong way. I'm a character too. When I was growing up, I never had the desire to drive a car. I had no interest in it. I had many other interests, similar things, or many other, fixations as a teen would, but driving a car was never, I just had no interest. I don't know. Some blind guys are fascinated by cars. Some of them fix cars. Some blind people are really good mechanics, but not me. You need a mechanic. Do not call me. I have no knowledge about that, and I'm fine with that because you know what? There are people that are disturbingly knowledgeable about that. I have an electric scooter, and I don't advertise this too much, but I ride with my
Yeah.
father. We ride in our community, and I have usable vision for that.
Good.
I also have a fascination with motorcycles too. I've never been on one, but I'm fascinated by it. When you were riding motorcycles though, were they mostly would you say they were mostly dirt bikes or like street bikes? Like what exactly were they? I mean, there's motorcycle is too general of a term. Exactly what bikes did you ride? Yeah.
When I said a DT 300, my first bike was a Mini 70, which would only go 40 miles an hour, and there was a governor put on it. My father put a governor on the carburetor, so I couldn't go past a certain speed. But then I got a 175 dirt bike, so motocross, trail riding in the woods,
Mm-hmm. Sure.
and then I got a DT 300, and that was just a rocket, a race rocket. It was a Yamaha, and it was like an incredibly fast bike at the time. It was 1976.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is, I never used to wear a helmet
Oh
until
gosh.
I know it sounds really good, don't it? Smart man, blind man, riding a bike with no helmet on.
No,
Don't
no,
do
we're
it.
not going to market that on this pod. No,
No,
no.
no, I'm
When
not
you're a
saying for anybody
blind
doing this. Yes,
person, so to all, we should also make a comment here to all of our blind motorists, to all of our blind friends who ride motorcycles, whether you're blind or not, please put on your helmet. Thank you. Okay, go
yes.
ahead.
Okay. So the funny thing is, the one day I did wear a helmet when I was riding. We did some motocross in a sand pit by a friend's house, and on the way home there was. This is my parents are gonna kill me. But on the way home, I tried to jump this little creek. There was a bridge there, and there was a ledge that was higher, so I could jump off that ledge and get over to the other side. It was only a 10-foot jump. No big deal. You ride motocross and do stuff like that in the sand pits. You're jumping all the time anyway, so it's not a big deal. 10 feet's nothing. I did something wrong. A chain messed up or something on my bike, and I got almost all the way across, and the bike arced weird, and I hit the other side of the thing, and I dumped my bike. The one day I wore a helmet. Unfortunately, that's the same day I broke my leg open
Ah.
on the motorcycle. So I got home, I put the bike away, and I had some blood in my boot. And so I took the pants off, threw the pants away, put this new pants on. I walked around for 3 months on it until one day I was on cobblestone street, and I turned around and my leg stayed in one direction.
Oh,
And I fell over, and my father said, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "My leg's not working." So we went in, and I never told him it was a motorcycle accident. Don't do this, please. Anybody out there? I didn't tell him it was a motorcycle accident. I didn't want my bike to be taken away. Okay. It wasn't my eyes that failed. It was just poor judgment in riding. But yeah, dirt bikes mostly. I did do a little street. Like the dirt better. If I could ride now, I'd be riding street though.
yeah, yeah. You probably could still ride today if you went to like a track somewhere or like a parking lot. You could still do it today for sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd get about 10 feet of usable vision
Mm-hmm.
as far as that goes. And I like to go fast. So if I'm not, my hair's not on fire when I'm riding, I don't want to ride.
Sure, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I know it would be fun. I mean, I've been offered to drive cars and to get on the back of bikes. And to me, it's not enough. I have so many other things I can do.
Yeah. No, I
Jumping
understand.
is fun. Yeah.
Mhm. No, that's really cool though. I don't know. I would think with considering how it seems to me that a motorcycle is very tactile. There's a lot of
It
like,
is.
feeling. So I mean, I think with just using your sense of feel and feeling what the bike is doing, I think you could still actually do it. You could still do it. It wouldn't be advisable, but you could do it. Certainly if you were able to drive a car, you could do it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's really really fascinating. Yeah. I'm just purely curious. Have you ever heard of another blind guy in our community by the name of Kevin Lowe?
No, I had not.
No, no, he's amazing. He's another great podcaster in our community. He has a wonderful podcast too. And he grew up in Hawaii and he was also doing dirt bikes for years. He was like racing and things like that.
Yeah.
That's what that reminded me of. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, it's really cool because I jumped snowmobiles. That was a lot of fun too.
How does that
Like,
work? So how do snowmobiles work, by the way? Yeah,
they are
tell me all
great.
about it.
Oh yeah, because snowmobiles are great because you stay on the white stuff and you stay out of the gray stuff, which are the trees, or the
Hmm.
black stuff on the sides. So you stay on the white stuff, and it's great unless you have a drop off or something that you can't judge because I have no depth perception. But you would have these whoop-de-doos that would come when you ride snowmobiles in the same area all the time. It makes these mounds
Hmm.
like moguls on a ski hill.
Sure.
So you hit those at 40, 50 miles an hour, and it'll project you in the air about 20 feet.
Hmm.
So I would jump to snowmobiles, and my father had 2.5 acres of land. So me and my buddies would ride, and that's what we do. So it's you for a blind person, snow is a really good way of doing things. I was legally blind, and I was riding dirt bikes. I was legally blind. I was riding snowmobiles, and downhill skiing was fun too. Until I couldn't see the moguls one day, and I stopped doing that. But you just stay on the light stuff. And for somebody with my limited vision, all you need to see is about 20 feet in front of you to see what the incline is. So the decline, you're looking at the first 20 feet, that's all you're reacting to, is you keep reacting to that. And it's all feel, it's tactile. Your feet, your body, your balance, your pendulum, your legs, the dirt bike and the snowmobiling, a lot of stuff you're feeling tactually through your handlebars. You're shifting your gears on the motorcycle with your left foot. You're hearing the rev of the engine. So you're attacking your engine to a certain thing in one gear, and then you change your gears. It's a lot of things that are tactile that's allowed me to do these things. It was freaking awesome, man. It was really cool.
I have many fond memories of being a boy and learning to ski. And when I was a really little guy, my father would ski backwards and
Oh,
help me
cool.
with my skis, you know. And then either by the time I was 5 or 6, either his back wouldn't allow him to ski backwards and bend over,
Yeah.
or I just was able to ski, I haven't skied in a while actually, but I loved skiing when I was younger. Skiing is great. It's an absolutely great thing. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
And motorcycles and skiing and
Hmm.
being a musician all led towards meeting girls. So that's the reason why I decided I wanted to drive a car too. It was independence to go places too, but you didn't have the desire for a car. The electric scooter's cool, but
Yeah.
that was one of my focuses as a kid.
Oh, sure, sure, sure. No, no.
Right.
There are many blind people. I wonder how many other, you said that you were one of few people in the country who were able to drive with the telescopic lens, right? How
As an
many other blind
experimental, yeah,
people have you met, who drove with one of those? How much, how much networking have you done about that? Yeah.
none.
Oh, okay.
There were only three of us in the beginning that had them to try to drive with. They were
Mm-hmm.
legal. One other person had an accident. I decided I wasn't going to have an accident. I gave up my license when I felt it was inappropriate for me and not safe for other people.
Sure.
And then the other person I don't know about, but I do know now from talking to different eye doctors that they're giving the lenses out to different people. I just heard of a person in Indiana, a friend of mine, Paul Milligan, who helps make the light source with me. He does all my machine work. He's got a friend there named Joe that has a telescopic lens and he's using it to drive. He limits himself to only driving during the daytime and he actually delivers papers for a living.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Sure, 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 absolutely. So have you been to Alaska? How much time have you spent up there?
No, none. I would love to go to Alaska.
Oh,
I have.
you mentioned the snowmobile, and I associate snowmobile with Alaska. Yeah.
I
Hmm.
live in New Hampshire, New England,
No, I know you do. Yes.
so
Yeah.
we have a lot of snow.
Oh, good. Hmm.
You
Yeah.
can run 50 miles, 100 miles on snow in a good year.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah. And
I
our
see.
skiing's incredible. We have the ocean. I spent a lot of my time as a kid in the ocean.
Hmm.
And because anywhere's from where I'm living right now, anywhere's in an hour to an hour and a half drive, we're either in the mountains or in the ocean. The town I live in has two mountains.
Right. Yeah. That's a really interesting thing. Yeah. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So, did you go up to Maine a lot in the summer?
Not Maine so much. I used to go rock climbing up in Maine and New Hampshire.
Hmm.
I like Vermont for skiing. Maine's got some really nice places to ski too. And there's a place called, all the people who are watching that will be in this area, is a place called Gunstock, and they actually have free skiing for the blind, where
Oh.
they'll go up and give you a person who will guide you as you're skiing and also teach you if you don't know how to ski.
Hmm.
So it's a lot of unique opportunities up here that are made for the skiing. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's really wonderful. Yeah, I always enjoyed that. I skied a lot in Maryland, in Virginia and places like that, which to you you can come back and tell me, well, Aaron, you've never skied, which is partially true, in comparison to the skiing you've done. But either way, when you're a little boy, as I was, having,
Yeah. I
adaptive
guess so.
ski lessons and
Yeah.
adaptive races and just the fun of that sport, looking back on it. And you were so right with the motorcycle, the snowmobile, the skiing. It's
Yeah.
all about networking with people. It's about having a great experience with other people. So that's a really important thing. It's a good way to, interact with others and things like that. So that's really, really good. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. I'm wondering, it's kind of funny you're talking about where you skied and where I skied. The mountains up here are good size, but then I talk to people out in Colorado or Utah,
Oh, sure.
and they laugh. They'll say, "Oh, you guys have mountains, but we have mountains." So yeah, it's like, dude, that's kind of there. It's relative to where you are. But I never had adaptive skiing. I
Hmm.
never had adaptive anything until I went to the school for the blind. All my life, I was trying to figure out that weird world between being blind and being sighted. There's a gray zone you get caught in. It's like a fog, right? You can see some things when you walk into the fog, all of a sudden they're there, but other things you can't see. So you use your other senses. So it's, you're in that world too. I mean, there's a lot of us in that world. People
Hmm.
think,
Hmm.
people think blind is close your eyes and what you see is blind. But there's so many different levels. Just about able to do something and not being able to do it visually. That's very frustrating.
I guess in my own life as a 35-year-old, see, the thing is, you're correct. I mean, I always understand when people say there's like the blind people who are in the shade of gray, right? The blind people who are, you know, not not blind enough to be blind, but you can see, so you want to be sighted, but you can't be sighted.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and for me, and this is only me, I don't know if it's right, but it's my perception. I just tell
Cool.
people I'm blind
Yeah.
because because I'm never going to be sighted.
Hmm.
And because I was born blind, I don't really need to be sighted.
Right.
I
That's
don't
it.
I don't need that stress of being a sighted person.
And that's cool.
Right. But I also acknowledge and recognize that there are still many blind people, especially those who lose their vision later, who tremendously struggle with the adapting to blindness and still wish that they could be sighted or things like that. So I mean I certainly do understand. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's really strange to me, Aaron, is some people would say, do you feel worse because you did all these things and they were taken away? Or would you feel worse if you never had a chance to do these things? And you can look at both sides of the coin. Personally, I look at it this way. I put those things away. When I couldn't do them safely, I put them away. I chose not to do them anymore. Now, if someone said to me, you can't do it anymore, and realistically, I could say, okay, I understand that. But if you like yourself enough and you love yourself enough, and if you understand who God is, it doesn't matter what goes away. Yes, you are depressed for a while and you have to give something up. But if you like yourself enough and love yourself enough, you look for something else to do. So you're not defined by that. So it's a really strange place to be. I mean, I loved when I could see to do things, but you know what? There's a sixth sense that nobody talks about, and that is like our facial vision. Like when we go into the kitchen at nighttime, we don't turn lights on. I don't turn lights on, even though I can see somewhat. And I walk up to a cabinet, and my wife or I left the cabinet door open, and I walk up to it and I pull my head away really quick because I feel the pressure in my face. I put my hand up, and there's a cabinet doors open. I didn't have to see it. There's a sixth sense. We have other senses. I call it inner where we can see and understand things sometimes other people can't. And if we're open to that, that opens up a whole new world. So being blind is not as bad as it could be, depending on our point of view. And I know sudden blindness throws a lot of people for a loop. I did El Vivo, which is a really good video
Yeah.
with Michelle. And
Hmm.
just before we went on, she told me about a 22-year-old girl that called her up who just lost her eyesight and said, you know what? I don't want to live anymore. I'm blind. I can't do what I wanted to do, what I planned on doing. My life is over. And she said, what do you think of that? She said, can you talk to that? And I thought about it, I prayed about it, and said, you know, I use all the examples that I did in my life. I did those when I was legally blind at 14. That's when I was declared legally blind. I didn't go to school for the blind until I was 22, the age that she was. And the thing is, it all depends on how you look at things. How can I find a better way to live the life I have and not be defined by what people think I am or what I thought blindness was? Life's an exciting adventure. It's a journey. And we can have a great time. We can choose that. We can choose to have a really miserable time. And in between times, there's mountains and valleys. And the mountains, you look at the valleys and say, oh man, it was a horrible time, but look at the view from here. Or you can be in the valley and just be miserable and not look to find the mountain to climb. So I don't know. My attitude's a little different maybe than I was as a kid. But I
Sure.
think I had this attitude as a kid as well.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, yeah, no, I totally understand what you mean. And that's definitely the attitude that I've developed is you just have to kind of put mind over matter, or as I say, it's not about what happens, it's how you
Yeah.
react. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
that's what it truly comes down to. Well, all of this, we'll come back to some of these things a little later, but I do
Yeah.
want to get sure, sure. Yes, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say cool. Yeah. Whatever you want to go for.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. Sure. So let's, so then you had all these experiences and then you started going to the school for the blind when you were 22. But obviously all of these things led up to this, minor little mishap you had with the car in the street
Yeah.
and you decided to create Sideways Innovations. So really, so really walk through the whole ingredients of how you set up Sideways Innovations, how it works, how you market your canes. Really break it down for me. Break it down for the audience because I think there's a lot of people who would be really interested.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Basically, we're gonna fast forward now 35 years.
Sure.
Some of the school for the blind. By the way, it was the first place I knew and ever saw blind people with canes and stuff. So that was really kind of freaky. And I didn't realize I was blind. See, I didn't understand I was blind until I climbed a tree at the school for the blind. And I was about to the top of the tree. I was probably about 40 feet up. And because that's what I did, I like to have fun. And I looked down and realized I couldn't see the branches to go down. And I had to feel my way down. And that's the first time I actually realized I was blind. But fast forwarding to Sideways Innovations, um, I was looking for a blind mobility cane that lit up because I thought it would have been really cool to have one that lights up. I just started having to use my cane again. I put it away for a while. I walked around just using my limited vision. I just started using the cane again for safety reasons. And so other people could see it. I couldn't see if I walked out to the street off the sidewalk or something. And so my new son, Chris from California, I got remarried about 5 years ago. So I get a new son. Yay. So we're sitting here and we're looking up to see if we could find a light up blind mobility cane. And I said, you know what? I can't find one. I'm going to make one. He said, how are you going to make one? I said, I'm going to make one out of a toy lightsaber. And everyone just laughed. My son-in-law to be brought over his lightsaber. He go to Disney World, and I looked at it and said, "Yeah, I can do this." So I bought a toy lightsaber. It was a really cheap piece of metal with a light in it and sound. And so I took it apart. I pulled the blade out of it, and I started buying tubes, different see-through tubes, and projecting light through it, and trying to figure out how to do that. And the first one I made, I had rubber tape around the top of the tube, and I shoved it in the lightsaber hilt, they call it, the handle, where the button and the electronics are, and put some screws through the side of the metal, and I held it on there and waggled it around. The light went down the tube, finally found a tube that worked. And so I found, if you put a plastic wrap inside it, it makes the light travel all the way down the tube more effectively. So I went out to a tree next to the house, and I baseballed the tree because I wanted to see if the tube would break. Because if you're going to make one, it can't hit the curb and break, or door gets slammed on and breaks. So I baseballed back this tree. The tube didn't break. The tube did come out of the handle, though. Lo and behold, it just flew out of the handle. So this is really bad because I couldn't see where the tube went. All right. So I'm on the ground now groping for my blind tube to put back in the handle and just use that to get back in the house. So that was kind of fun. Challenges, learning to make a tip to go inside a tube because you wanted to have an interchangeable tip. If I made a tip that was just a piece of plastic in there and it would wear out and then you'd have to throw everything away. So I wanted to make a tip that would work. And so I bought tips from Ambutech and all these different companies. And the only thing I knew at the time is they made hook style tips, which went on the bungee cord canes, the fold ones. So they weren't working. So I bought test tube stoppers and I drilled holes in them. And I put the hook tip in that and I shoved in the end of the tube. And that worked, but it wasn't practical. Because next time you had to change it, you had to remodify each tip. And I wanted to help our blind community. I wanted our community to be seen, not just me now. Now I'm on a mission to make them for the blind community. So eventually I got to assemble a tip that you can screw in an Ambutech threaded tip, okay, for my telescopic ones. Somebody said to me, well, at that time I was just making fixed length ones. They said, well, can you make them telescopic so we can get into a car easier with them? I said, no, that's not possible because I can't get the different tubes to go inside each other. I'm holding up right now one of my canes. This is a telescopic one that I was wrong. This goes from 30 inches when it's collapsed. This one goes to 56 inches. So it is possible. So I started off with very heavy tubes. Now I'm down to a thinner tube, more lightweight. I've used different lightsaber handles. Lightsaber companies will make them for a certain amount of time, but then they stop making them if they don't sell enough. So I had to keep changing handles. So somebody challenged me to make a collapsible folding blind mobility cane. I said, that's absolutely impossible to do. The problem with that is you have to have a tube that will carry the light down the whole length of the tube, and they make them out of aluminum. And I thought there was no way you could make it out of anything else. It didn't make sense to me that you could. Well, ends up I'm sleeping, and I woke up one morning, and it's now 3 o'clock in the morning, and I had spent time and prayer the night before. I'm a musician. I'm a Christian musician. I've been assistant pastor. I've been a youth group pastor, a CMA chaplain, and my music, it doesn't have the whole story. But anyways, God gave me the mathematics to do it and said, you can do it. I didn't say you couldn't. So what I'm holding right now, Aaron, in my hand is a collapsible, light up, blind mobility cane. Now, I don't know with all my studio lights on here, because I have daylighters on, if you'll be able to see the light in this or not. But this is red, blue, green. And what this is now is the first light up blind mobility cane that is collapsible. The only one actually right now on the market. And what I've done here, I just took the handle off the blade. Now, the difficulty of making this whole thing was, Aaron, was to make a piece on top where the bungee cord could connect to. All right. And I love the handles we have now on the blind mobility canes. They put them up through the handle, they tie a knot on top, or they put a wedge up there. And if it breaks, you really can't replace them that easy. This one here, if it breaks, all you have to do is take the bungee cord. So you take the blade out of the handle, take the handle off the blade, you flip it upside down, you pull out the tip. I'm holding it by the tip now for everyone's information, pulling the bungee cord up, undo the tip, let the cord go through the handle, through the tube, the shaft, and just pull it off the top and put a new cord in. So now we have canes that not only light up, and the handles are interchangeable. Now this one here happens to be one with a lightsaber handle on it. Because they kept changing the handles on me and I couldn't get anything consistent, I decided, well, I want to make my own handles. And that way if I design my own handle, I don't have to worry about them going out of business or not making that particular model.
Yeah, really, that's really, really fabulous. Sure, sure. So, one of the most important questions of many, what has been some of your greatest challenges with Sideways Innovations, and what constructive criticism and perhaps pushback have you faced from the general public about your product?
Well, pushback at first was it's one length, it's too long and too fixed. When I went to the School for the Blind, they told us back in the 80s, they only wanted us to use fixed lengths because you had better feedback through your handle. So that was a new thing to me. A CEO, Randy Pierce of Future Insight, took a look at it and bought the first one that I sold, and it was a fixed length and it's very encouraging. So he said, it'd be great if we could get to be able to collapse them. So I did collapse them. And the problem is canes that they have, I made them and designed them. I designed them with a telescopic collar. So now you can lock your blade or your telescopic cane into a position. So if you lean on it, it may go down a little bit, but you're not going to fall on your face. The first one I had that was telescopic, I leaned on it and went to the ground. This one, it'll slip a little bit, but it'll hold you, and you don't have to worry about it collapsing down if you hit something and, changing your range. So the other things were, after I did that, they wanted them to be lighter. So I changed the tube design to a much lighter tube design in a smaller diameter. They started off as 1 inch to 7/8. Then they went down to 7/8 to 3/4. Now it's 3/4 to 5/8. And it's a much smaller tube, so it's much lighter. And so then it was, we would like one without sound because sound bothers our environment. I said, all the canes I sell, even the ones with the Star Wars music or Star Wars sounds, they all have a mute function. Hit the mute function. Some people still were the purist. They want a folding, light up cane. So what I have in my hand right now is my version of a folded light up cane. This is a handle design that I made. I designed the handle and the electronics for this. I decided I wanted to make this particular model. I'm holding up so that the camera can see. This one here has a personal alarm system on it as well. So if a dog comes after you, they don't like the sound of 135 decibels. They're very high pitched screaming in their ears. So they tend to leave you alone, which I don't like dogs. I'm going to play this with my finger over it to mute most of it. This alarm is removable, okay, and rechargeable. And the way to have it set up right now, if you decided the alarm was broken, because things break, or you can't recharge them all the time. The batteries eventually won't hold a charge. You throw it away. You go on Amazon. I tell you where to get it. It's only $9 for you to replace it. You don't have to send it back to me to get it fixed. The tactical flashlight I use inside here now for lighting, this is 1500 lumens. I don't know if you can see that, Aaron, how much sight you have, but I just lit it up. Now, I've got daylighters on in here for video purposes. I can see my stick lit up, but it's 1500 lumens. So think about a 100-watt light bulb. It shows up about 6 to 8 feet around you. So the cars see you at night very well. I would say from 2.5 blocks away, I've been told. This one here, you unscrew the cap and the tactical flashlight's inside. The tactical flashlight, I'll pull it out for you. The tactical flashlight I use is, they're claiming 100% waterproof, which I will be doing a video on my show, YouTube channel, that will show if it's 100% waterproof or not. This tactical flashlight uses a rechargeable battery. You pull the battery out and the charging is on the battery. So you pull the battery out, and where the button top is, there's a charging port. You plug it in, you charge it for 4 hours, and you're all charged. But if you're out somewheres and you can't go without, your charge dies on you, forgot to charge it, or you've been out too long, this flashlight, you can go buy 2 AA batteries at any store, gas station, drugstore, whatever, and put them in for the temporary time being and still get another 4 hours of life out of it. So
absolutely. Really, really, really incredible. Yeah, really good. Yeah. Yeah, this is really, really fascinating. As we spoke on the phone, or as we spoke off air, you were mentioning how I don't want to say the word guilt, but you had some hesitation as far as actually marketing these canes. You kind of didn't want blind people to spend money on your product.
yeah.
So I don't know. For me, I don't have a product like that as of yet, but it just seems like
All right.
you have a
All
product.
right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my problem is not so much wanting you not to spend money. I know a lot of people live on disability, and I would like the guidance cane. It's $1,600. I can't afford the guidance cane, and I know it would help a lot of us out in the blind community to have one. But I couldn't justify when I get $1,000, 11 a month on disability to put myself in to get a guidance cane. I bought a pair of glasses that they no longer make. I paid $4,500 for them, and the Orcam glasses I bought, and they went out of business. And I spent a lot of money for those. They broke after a year. I had a year of great time taking pictures and reading, and it taught me a lot. I was able to learn a lot using those glasses. But to me, that's like the price of a whoop-de car, a used car. And I had to pay for it for a long time. So the idea of having a high-priced stick bothers me. But in the same token I know these sticks will help save people. My whole purpose in life is to bring a little light into a dark world. We live in a dark world. And to bring light into it, it can be an outer symbol of what should be an inner condition. I believe in Jesus Christ. I have a personal relationship with him. I don't believe in religion. But there's a light that you can go by, an inner vision that can get you through many different difficulties. But these sticks is my way of giving back to the light and bring a light into people's world, but to keep people safe. The whole idea is to bring vision to the sighted. In other words, the sighted drivers who don't see us all the time. I want to bring vision to them. I want them to see us. And with the lightsabers, like when I go into a store with the lightsaber ones, for example, I light up my sticks and I walk around them during the daytime in the stores because I'm an ambassador. This is one of my sticks.
Yes, I can see that.
Okay, now watch what this will do.
The Jedi, like my father before me.
When I
Yeah.
walk around with one of these things, not only do I have little kids that want to come and see the blind dude because look, Daddy, he's got a lightsaber. I have grown-ups come over and ask me, hey, where can I get one of those, man? That's really cool. So now I'm an ambassador for the blind community. Before I'd walk down the street with my cane, and you probably have had this experience if you use a cane. I don't know if you do or don't,
I do use a
but you
cane, yeah.
walk through and yeah, and people park like it's the Red Sea, but they don't always talk to you. Or if they do, they say, get out of the way, get out of the way. They don't talk to you. They talk about you. When I walk down the street with this light sword, people come to me. When people open the door, I don't have to guess anymore if the door is open enough because they didn't say, I've got the door for you, sir, or anything. They just open the door and stand there, and I'm groping for the door now, thinking I know where it is. Now people say, oh, dude, I got the door for you. Love the stick. But I get to sit and talk with people. I say, hey, talk to us, just because people have some kind of a minor inconvenience, we'll call it. It's actually a major convenience at times, but, you know, doesn't mean that we're just not people. We want to talk. We want to joke with you. Um, I have a good sense of humor. I like to joke with people. So the idea is to become ambassadors. But no, I do have a problem with having to charge money for these things. If I could do it without that, if I could sell the company to somebody else and have them charge them, I'd feel better about it. But the price is really low. Like this one here, this is a new design. There's a box on this one. The other one, I had to use O-rings to hold the clips on, the personal alarm systems. This one has a box built onto it. So all you have to do is put it on and pull it down and it locks it in. This is 3D printed now. The handles were all aluminum and steel, which means I had to have somebody lathe them. 3D printing these makes it so I could drop the price by $20. So when you have a problem with your lights or your personal alarm system, you throw it away, you go on Amazon. The flashlight that's in here is $27. You buy it and fix it yourself. You don't send it back to me. I don't want you spending money on shipping back and forth because it's broken. You send it back to me to fix. And if I have to fix it, I have to charge you money to fix it. If you can buy the flashlight yourself on Amazon in any country, doesn't matter where you are, on Amazon's all over the world. You can buy it in any country and shove the flashlight in there all by yourself. You save yourself shipping to me. You save yourself me having to put it in and realigning everything when you can do it yourself. So yeah, my guilt is subsiding a little bit, but
Well, good, good. And I mean, I totally understand, what you mean that, we have to be cognizant of the audience and of the community that this, is marketed towards. But I mean, I think, in a lot of ways, I think most of all, never mind. And I don't want to phrase it like never mind about how cool it is because it's a great invention. It's a great product. The best part about it is that it opens conversation. And I mean, I think,
it's
I'm kind of neutral about conversation. There are times in my own life where I don't know. I go back and forth. There are moments where I say, yeah, I'm open to conversation with people, and other moments where I think sighted people need to go about their merry way,
yeah,
and blind people need to not always worry about sighted people. So I mean, for me, it's a two-way street. But
it
you're
is. It is
100% correct that opening conversation the right way. I guess my thing is, if the conversation is in the right spirit, if it's in the right, if it's an appropriate conversation, it's a conversation worth having for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
hmm hmm
I've noticed most of the conversations I've had have been worth having. I
Well,
mean,
good. Then that's good then. Yeah.
yeah, I haven't had one the only negative one I had is when I was trying to film the first time crossing the street, and I crossed like 3 or 4 times, and a man yelled out the window something to the effect of a derogatory statement and a swear to go with it that I was holding out traffic because I crossed like 3 or 4 times. I waited in between so traffic could drain off while I was filming. But, that I think is the only blind statement I ever had that was derogatory in the past 3 years that I've been doing this, if I can talk to somebody in a good conversation, and there's times you don't feel like talking, so say, "Hey, I love the light sword. That's really cool, dude." I say, "Yeah, thank you," and I'll keep walking. So we do have the choice to talk or not to talk. So it's on us if we don't talk or if we talk. But I think a lot of times there's a lot of blind people who are too afraid to talk to people. A lot of people are too afraid to talk to blind people, and that isolates us from the world. And then people see us as not part of the world sometimes, I think. It's okay for us to be grouchy too. It's all for us
Hmm.
to say, I don't feel like talking. Dude, thanks. I appreciate the comment. Later. That's okay too. But the thing is, at least people are reaching out to each other. And to me, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, yeah, you're completely correct. So for you, it's your thing is it's about building the meaningful connection, actually connecting with the other person. That's great. That's really, really cool. Yeah. Well, so about how many, I mean, just in general, how many units or how many canes do you think you've actually sold over the years?
Well, I really didn't start selling much until my second year. So I'm in my second, third year right now. I have 110 sold. When there are times though, I do inspirational talking.
Hmm.
Been at the NFB 4 times now. They've asked me to come back each year, and there are people I meet along the way. A little boy, Jaden, very nice little guy. He's like 12 years old. He's been over to my house because he doesn't know any blind people, so his mom's brought him over here. We've talked and stuff. And so my very first cane I gave away was a blind cane, was to Jaden. And we were at a Walk for Sight for Future Insight in New Hampshire, where they raised money to help support blind people in the community. And I saw him there with his mom, and I went over and I talked to his mom. I said, because it's inappropriate just to go to a child and talk. So I went to his mom. I said, "Excuse me, but I make these blind light up mobility canes, and I would like to give your son one." God had tweaked my heart. Said, give one to this boy. I'm thinking, okay, I just, started selling these. I need money to make them. But so I went and talked to the mom and I said, "Jaden, you come over." I had 6 or 7 of them. I said, "I want you to pick out whatever one you want." His mom said, "Yes, of course." I wouldn't have offered it. So he came and picked it out. But because of that contact and with his mom, who's been having a real struggle dealing with him being blind and not knowing what to do and how to do it, we got a rapport going on. So every year when I go up there, he's got his own team, walking team that goes with him, and I've given him a different cane. So he come over the house and they give him a lighter cane as I develop them because he's a little guy. But I've given away 20 canes. Okay, not because anyone who calls me gets a cane, but when God tells me to give a cane away, I have to be faithful and give it because this whole thing was given to me by God to bring light into this world. So my mission is twofold. One is I want to help us keep safe. Two is I want to bring some light in this world. And I want people to start looking at the fact that it's not just themselves. There's more than just what we have here in this life.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. Yeah, yeah, and I agree. You have to be sparing when you give them away. But when you know, as there's a saying, and it means many different things in many different
Yeah.
contexts, as we
Yes.
say, when you know, you know. When you have the feeling, it's the feeling. Now, I might not, and I'm not, which is great. I'm not spiritual in my own personal life, but I certainly appreciate that you are. And I certainly know what you mean. When you have a feeling that you should do something, well, I've had those feelings too. When you just know,
Yeah, exactly.
this is the right choice. I'm just supposed to. You just have a sneaking suspicion that you're supposed
Yes.
to do that. Yeah, that is really, really, really good. Yeah. Have you thought of other types of products you would want to produce in the future?
Yes. Well, I do produce a hiking stick that's on my website. I
Oh,
also have a cane. I'm designing a new cane right now, which will have a trigger in the handle. So when you want to turn the lights on and off or vary through the different levels of lights, you'll be able to do for people who have leg problems, we'll say,
Mm-hmm.
balance
Mm-hmm.
problems. I do have a portable, um, we'll say, a portable workstation for computers and tablets
Oh,
that
tell me
I
about that.
have been working on in my mind and have some ideas. Well, it's going to be briefcase-like. It'll have a tripod leg system that will come down. So if you're at a bus station, airport, dorm room, hotel room, right, you can work anywheres. My idea is to have a three-screen setup. So the top part of the briefcase that would open up would have your screen, a single screen, or set it as a layering screen system where you can pull one screen to the right, one screen to the left, and be a screen left in the middle, with the keyboard in the bottom part of a briefcase device with a power station in there and with some solar abilities to also get a little power added to it. So the power station you would charge it. So we charge your phone, your computer, elongate your computer's lifetime. That's one thing I've been working on.
Mm.
And some of the other inventions I had ideas for years ago that people said would never work actually are now ideas that other people have done and produced. So things that I should have kept going with, I stopped doing. I'm a musician. I'm a musician. I do ministry. I'm a dad. I'm a grandfather now. Um, I wear many hats. So the invention thing was kind of a new thing.
Yeah, yeah. I'm especially interested in the hiking stick. I love hiking. I'm actually going to be going on a longer range hike next year. So let's talk off air about that. But I love talking about
Oh,
hiking sticks. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right now I have a solid one, but I'm in the process of making a collapsible one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to have the tactical flashlight in it for
Mm.
lighting. It will have a personal alarm system on it for bears or if you get hurt hiking to get the attention you need to get your help. So, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, let's definitely talk about the hiking stick off air. But that's some really cool stuff. And you're on the right track about a portable charging port for, computers and things like that. That's also a major issue for blind people. When we travel overseas or anywhere to a strange place, that's always a big sense of anxiety for a lot of people. So that would be really good. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it'll be basically a portable table with your computer or anything inside it, which is nice because the ability to charge your equipment and have your computer's already charged, it's got 4 hours on it. If you have another device in there, you can charge it for another 4 hours. Now you've got 8 hours of computer time. If you're using a tablet or whatever, you can charge your phone on it. You'll put a cordless charge your phone thing in it, so it'll be like a portable stand. And what I like to do is I like to take things and modify them because that way there, if something goes wrong, you can buy the product to go in the product. You replace it yourself. I believe that there's too many places where we have to send our equipment back and they charge us for shipping. They charge us $100 just for opening it up and then they charge us to fix it. So you're paying almost as much you're paying sometimes for the product or if not more to have it fixed.
Hmm.
My idea is to make that concept obsolete. And just like the sticks, if this thing takes off and we get, I've got people from Germany, I've got people from Ireland, Australia, China. Uh, I'm sorry, there's too many countries to name. All UK want these sticks, and I've never been able to send them out because they were $227 to ship a $140 stick or $160 stick overseas. Well, I just found out now there's a possibility I can do it for $35 to $59. Now it's doable, but I would like to get blind people to make these. My idea is not to set up a factory. My idea is to find people who cannot go out in the world because they can't drive there or whatever reason to make them at their own house or to franchise these to people. Hey, you can buy the plans off me. I'll show you how to make them. I'll send you videos. You get your own little area. That's your area. Be McDonald's. Make your own way. But, if we can help our community or other communities, people in wheelchairs, they can't jump in the car and take off to drive. to have a business of their own.
Absolutely. Yeah, you are definitely on the right track, and I certainly have some ideas. At some point I'll definitely let you know, but I definitely agree with your ideas about all this. Is with your music,
Yeah.
are any of those songs, have you produced any songs that are on Spotify?
No, I haven't been doing much with the music in the past. I'd say
Hmm.
3 years since I started this project. I actually sold my drum set, one of my drum sets, to actually finance some of this. The research and development on this has been costly. To buy parts have been costly. Um, so I'm a little bit in debt where that goes. But anytime you make something new, anytime you invent something, the research and development is, I don't have any backers. I'm still doing this on a disability thing, and I'm not making a lot of profit on these sticks. The profit margin I have on these sticks compared to a lot of the other ones, some people have a 600% profit margin, 400% profit margin, 300. Mine is not anyways near that.
Sure,
And
sure. Of
so,
course,
yeah,
yeah, of course your customers are also a very specific group of people too. So the
yes.
audience is also a pretty narrow audience. That's a problem. Yeah.
But that's why the canes for mobility will be there, and then the hiking sticks. It broadens my audience. The whole idea is to keep people safe. You're hiking at night or dusk, and the sun goes down quicker than you expect. Wouldn't it be nice to have a 1500 lumen light that you could take off your cane, and now you've got this flashlight, right?
Hmm.
To light your way. Or at nighttime, you're walking and you still get enough light to see with, or you get trapped up in the woods. In New Hampshire, we have people trapped all the time
Yeah.
on mountainsides and stuff like that, and they can't get help. What if you had a personal alarm system? You could do a 2 minute interval screech.
Hmm.
Okay, if you hear somebody to help find you because you broke your leg, you fell, or a light at nighttime because you're up in there and it's dark and you have no way of getting any light or get help if they need to see you on the mountainside.
Sure.
So
Absolutely.
the lights,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, and I mean the other step in, and then moving forward from that would be a way where the blind person could simply push a button and the cane or the hiking stick would actually send their location automatically to their family.
yes, that would be
That's a
good.
pretty easy thing to do. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, but the problem is then you're talking like another $200 just for that device.
Well,
So I'm
but then
trying to keep right.
again,
Yeah.
correct. But then again, if it saves somebody's life, well, maybe it's worth the 200 if it saves a family.
For me, it definitely be worth the money. It's like
Yeah.
I've also looked at putting this is called the Protector, the one of the personal alarm system. I've also thought about putting in a pepper spray for us getting attacked. We've had some women. The reason why the whole personal alarm system came to be because the president of our NFB in New Hampshire was, when she was younger, was physically assaulted by
Hmm.
a man, inappropriately touched. And she said, I would really like it if we had a personal alarm system, you know. And I said, well, it'd be perfect for if a blind person gets hit by a car or he falls down some stairs because he didn't use his cane bar or just something happened, hurt themselves. You can only yell for about 2 minutes. You lose your voice,
Hmm.
and your decibels of yelling is like 50 decibels. It's 135 and it'll go for 20 minutes. So if you do intermittent screeching, if you know there's somebody there, you'll leave it on and people
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, that's all really important.
don't
Yes.
know. You do it for a minute at a time.
Hmm.
That way here you get the help.
Right.
So learning how to take care of yourself, that's what the idea with the mace thing. I was just thinking for myself for fun, but it's something that people want. But the thing is, you have to worry about, you have to make sure grown-ups are buying these things. You can't sell these to a teenager or a little kid. I mean, there's so many things you have to worry about.
Hmm.
Um, Making sure that the light source that you use is good. That's the reason why research and development is so costly, because you get something that's good and then all of a sudden they start making it, or you get a bunch of things that aren't good and you send them back and some will take them back, some won't take them back, some you have to modify to see if they're good. So now you have those and you're stuck with them. I'm
Hmm.
working with a lightsaber company right now that said they would sell me the internals, which is the core. The core is where all the sound and light comes from. I'm going to, I don't know how many audience see and how many don't. I'm pulling the handle off one of my lightsabers right now so I can show the core. And I'm holding it in front of the camera. The core is this black piece here. My hand is run down. There's a battery, and on the other side, there's the computer chips that make the sound. Okay? On the very end of the core, on one end, is the speaker. On the other side, it goes into the handle. Now, this particular core lets you know when the power is on. Good to know for when you're blind if you can't see. This one here also operates your different lights. Now, what's unique about this core that a lot of them don't have, this particular core, this is the reason why I want to use them for the light, so when I put them into my new handle, it will tell you, okay, no blind mobility cane out there right now that is electronic will tell you the battery level that lights up. So that's the reason why I want to use this core. This also is it has the ability to, if I just want to, I like the color blue at night. Blue and green are the two easiest colors for your cones in your eyes to pick up.
Sure.
So you're seen better by cars using blue or green. What I'd like to do with my canes, I set every single character voice to the color blue. So when I turn it on, I only have blue. So if I go different characters, select the different sound effects in a different character, or I just want to give the kids some fun or out thing to hear them say Yoda's voice or whatever, I still have my blue light. If something goes wrong with that blue light, this cane has the ability to do something else too, that most of them do not. And it just didn't do it. 6, 7. Okay, it's being 7 with me. Anyways, it has a reset. So you can reset hit factory reset, and it resets all the colors back to the original if you decide you want to, go back without having to play with it. So that core is going to be made available to me by a company called Warwick Saber. They said they would sell me the core. They knew that I'd be using their core in different lightsabers, not their own, but different lightsabers. And the handles that I've designed and developed that we'll be doing on 3D printing will be lightweight. This particular lightsaber weighs 2 pounds. Okay, this is my personal lightsaber I use because I just love lightsabers. But for blind mobility, I want it to be lightweight. My new handle with the 1500 lumen flashlight and a personal alarm system on it, 3D printed version, okay, that one only weighs 12 ounces. So it's very lightweight, and it lights up. It has interchangeable tip, interchangeable light, personal alarm system. If you snap the handle, you call me up and say, Steve, it snapped. I've only had it for 6 months. I send you a new handle, period. That's it. You pay for shipping to get it, but I send you a new handle. You put your flashlight back in, you put your personal alarm system back on. Companies don't do that. I actually have come up with a thing, Aaron. So you have a cane right now that doesn't light up, but say you want a personal alarm system in case you fall or get hurt. Wouldn't it be nice if you could put one on a regular cane? I made a piece that will do that. So now I have a little box. I'm showing your audience and you a little box that your personal alarm system will go into. You push it in hard because if you want to make it so it has a friction point so it won't come out, and it connects to your cane. This is a regular cane handle from Ambutech. I place this box, this personal alarm system, on a regular cane handle. You've just added, I think it's 0.4 ounces to your cane. So 1/3 of an ounce to your cane's weight. But now, if you fall and get hurt, or somebody's hassling you, you have a personal alarm system with you. And this personal alarm system has a red flashing light, a blue flashing light, a white flashing light, and it goes off. It's rechargeable, and they claim it's waterproof. I have not tested that out yet. But we know rain won't hurt it, at least. That's pretty much it, dude.
Well, I mean, I completely support the idea. You're definitely on the right track, and the product is super cool, super, super cool. Especially, we'll definitely talk about the hiking stick. That's my thing. But I
Yeah.
think over time you'll discover that there's, an audience for really, everything, provided that they're blind. I think,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know this, but I'm sure you might have a caveat that you have to be blind to buy one of your products, I think, which is reasonable, I think. But that's just me, that's just
Yeah,
how
I don't because I want to bring light into the world, whether you're sighted or blind.
hmm
You're black or white or green or purple or orange with polka dots. My thing is, when it comes right down to it, if we can learn to take care of each other or to help each other in some way, it's all good. It's all good.
Sure, sure. Yeah. So in other words, you basically, similarly to my slogan, help one today, a million tomorrow, you're
Yes.
basically about making the right choices for society. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's completely good. Well, that's really incredible. I'm sure you, Stephen, have some questions for Aaron Richmond and Aaron's opinion. So, as I like to say, really get under my skin if you want, and really ask some questions that you really want to ask. What do you really want to know about me?
All right, Aaron.
Sure.
Question for you would be, how long have you been doing this, and how much longer do you want to do this?
Well, I mean, I'm guessing you're talking about the podcast, the concept
Yes, I
behind it,
am.
right?
I'm interviewing you now. So how long have you been doing this, Aaron? How long would you like to do this?
Sure. Well, I've been doing this for 6 years, and I want to do this forever, as long as I can, because it's the right thing to do. I have found that with every episode, I feel better. And I've noticed that it seems as if guests feel good too, because that's why they keep coming back. And that's why I have, luckily, more guests, more people are lining up to be interviewed. So I think we in the blindness community, just like you correctly noted, we need, a cane that lights up. We need an alarm system on a cane that lights up. You correctly noted those things. We also need to talk. And in addition to your cane bringing people together, podcasting certainly does. So that's me. And I started the podcast in 2020 during the height of the pandemic, where many podcasts, by the way, many podcasts that started during the pandemic, whether they want to
Yes.
admit to it or not. And it was at the end of my guide dog's life, and I was just like everyone having a hard time. And so, I was listening to podcasts from around the blindness community, but they were not always open to my opinion. I wanted to
And
create a space where you, Stephen, and many others can come and share your story. And that's why. That's the why, and that's the what. There you go.
all right, Aaron. My next question is, it's kind of a loaded question, but when are you getting your first blind light up mobility cane with a personal alarm system on it?
Well, I don't know. I think I'm more of a hiking stick guy. So,
Okay, we'll have to talk about that
yeah,
later.
no, you go because I do a lot of hiking and I need a new stick. So that's actually super cool. And we'll have to talk about customization because I'm a pretty specific customer.
Well, do you know
Um,
I make one with a speaker on it, so you can actually get GPS off your phone using your Bluetooth speaker as well as music. And yes, you too can do texting and talking. You can make calls, and it's 100% waterproof.
well, nothing's 100% waterproof. You could maybe say water resistant, maybe.
Now, this now I'm going using the claim they have,
Oh, okay.
but no, it's a 67%. But the thing is, it's when they say that, it's very deceiving
hmm
because what it means is they'll go underwater for 30 minutes at a depth of 3 feet, and it won't stop working. So it's deceiving in that respect.
Sure,
But
sure.
but no, seriously, I want to thank you for the opportunity to come on to your podcast. And I've been thinking about doing one myself. Me and the Blind Striker do
You should.
YouTube videos, and he does his own YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is Sideways Innovations,
hmm
dot on YouTube, and that's just me playing with the sticks and showing some of the sticks. And I think most of my YouTube interviews are on there. I think I have four more I have to put on. I haven't put on yet. but I really enjoy the fact that you want to be out there and help the blind community to see that we're just normal people doing normal things. And I pray that these podcasts will be seen by sighted people too, because it shouldn't be sighted, non-sighted, wheelchair, non-wheelchair. It should be just people. And that's the downright end of it all.
Sure. I mean, I don't give that a whole lot of thought, really. I like to think, and I'm sure that we both have sighted people who listen to us. And
Yeah.
I'm sure we do. The other thing that's a subtle thing, in addition to you bringing people together to have conversation, is you always have a silent audience, right? So if you're
Yes.
having a conversation, I don't know, at a coffee shop with a kid about a
Yes.
cane,
Very
right?
good. Yeah.
That also means, and this is very important and very subtle, that also means that there are 3 or 4 other people standing in the back of the coffee shop watching the conversation. So those people who are quietly, silently listening, those silent listeners, those are the people who are in the audience. That's the actual
That's
audience,
Very good. Very good
So-
observation. Awesome.
So, that's quite frankly the hardest thing to navigate. If you could ever crack a code or invent a software that actually deciphers who silent listeners are. In other words, if you found a way of identifying silent listeners, well, then at that point, then you've cracked the algorithm, because that's really what, search engines are based on. It's based on people that are hiding that still need the facts.
Right.
So, yeah.
Very good. That's a really good observation, because being a blind person, I don't like to say I eavesdrop, but because I don't see that well, I pay attention to my hearing a lot more from my environment.
Sure.
We get conversations all the time. So your observation of that, sighted, non-sighted, doesn't matter. We all hear background noise, and sometimes the background noise tickles our ear. And we
Exactly.
understand, hey, that sounds kind of cool. What's that dude talking about? Not trying to listen in on you. No, we're not trying to be bad or eavesdroppers, but it's part of life. We're human, and that happens. So yeah, you're right. There's a lot of good PR going out there and a lot of negative, but we're sticking with the good stuff for now.
Yeah, let's just keep it negative. Yeah, why did you have to mention the negative? You could just keep it positive.
Because I want to tell people to stop listening to the negative, listen to the positive. I want to ask you a question. I want to ask you can you see me good? Because I want to see what you think of my new hat.
Yeah, I can see you a little bit there. Yeah.
What do you think?
Of the hat, I can't see it too well. Just with you using your iPhone and the way it comes into the frame, it's a little, oh yeah, I see it a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. Well, if your audience can see it, it's a Stormtrooper helmet.
Oh, okay.
And Scott Joffrey, the Blind Striker, gave that to me. We named a lightsaber Blind Mobility cane after his brother. His brother died when he was 18 years old, and Scott was just 11.
Indeed. Yeah, Scott mentioned that when Scott was on the show. Yeah, that was interesting too. Yes.
So we named a lightsaber after him. That was his brother. So he gave that to me to kind of remember his brother by and to kind of salute his brother. But no, I think there's a lot of good positive stuff going out there. I'd like to see your podcast. El Vivo's another podcast that's really positive. You've got the Blind Life with Sam Seavey. You've got the Blind Surfer with Pete Gustin. All podcasts that help people to say, look, we're having fun. We're living our lives. It's cool. Come talk to us,
Absolutely.
And for you blind people out there like myself and Aaron, thank you so much for watching. And remember, we're not defined by what we can't do. We're only defined about the things that we're willing to try and what we will do.
You're correct. You're absolutely correct. All right. One second here. I have one final thing to say. Hold on.
What do you think?
So anyway, if after somebody has been listening to this episode for a while and they definitely want more information, or maybe they want to buy a cane or a hiking stick, So yeah, where can you be found anyway? How can somebody get in touch with Sideways Innovations and you?
Okay, you can go to sidewaysinnovations.com. That is the website where you
Mm-hmm.
can take a look at the sticks and purchase them. You also can use Sideways Innovations to call me personally or email me personally. And I'd be more than happy to talk with you, help you to find the right stick, whether it be hiking, walking cane, or blind mobility cane. And I don't mind talking to people if they need a little extra help
Mm-hmm.
and need to just vent a little bit. Everybody that buys the light sword, I put into my computer bank contacts, and I send group texts out from time to time and see how they're doing. Tell them anything new and innovative we can do to keep us safe. And being uh, a man who believes in Christ, Christian, for lack of a better word, I'm available to pray for people and pray with people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I do. And thank you for the opportunity to share this with people. It's really cool of you, man.
Well, you're forever welcome here on Aaron's Opinion, no matter what. Aaron's Opinion is the podcast where you're always welcome, Stephen. All right.
Okay.
Please do not hang up. I'll talk to you for another minute. And
Okay.
until then, everybody, he's Sideways Innovations. Go check it out. Super fun, super fascinating. Great episode as always. Thank you, Stephen. And until next
Thank
time,
you.
from everybody else, be well out there. And as we said a few moments ago, remember the idea about life. Help one person today. Help 1 million people tomorrow.